What if I told you the dollar might not be king forever? For 80 years, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency. Every major transaction, oil, gold, international trade, happens in dollars. It's the foundation of American power. But China's been quietly building something to replace it. And if they succeed, your savings, your job, your entire economy could change overnight. Let me show you what's happening behind the scenes. Okay, quick crash course. A reserve currency is the money countries use for international trade and hold in their banks as savings. Right now, that's the US dollar. About 60% of global reserves are in dollars. Most oil is traded in dollars. Most debt is in dollars. This gives America insane power. We can print money and the world absorbs it. We can sanction countries and cut them off from global trade. We can borrow cheaply because everyone needs dollars. It's basically a superpower cheat code. But China sees this, and they want it, because whoever controls the reserve currency controls the global economy. And China's been working on this for over a decade. Let me explain how America locked in the dollar. In 1974, we made a deal with Saudi Arabia. They sell oil only in dollars. In exchange, we protect them militarily. Boom. Petrodollar system. Now, every country that needs oil, which is everyone, needs dollars first. So they buy dollars, hold dollars, trade in dollars. This creates constant demand for our currency, which keeps it strong and lets us print money without crazy inflation. But here's the thing. China doesn't need to play by those rules anymore. They're the world's biggest oil importer, and they're making deals to buy oil in their currency. Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iran, countries that used to only take dollars, now taking yuan. The petrodollar system is cracking, and China's the one with the hammer. Now, China's not doing this alone. They've partnered with Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa, the BRICS nations. Together, they represent like 40% of the world's population and a third of global GDP. And they're building an alternative financial system. They're talking about a BRICS currency. They're creating their own payment systems to bypass the dollar. They're setting up trade agreements where they don't need dollars at all. Russia sells gas to China in yuan. Brazil trades with China in yuan. Saudi Arabia is considering it. Even France bought natural gas in yuan recently. Every time a country trades without dollars, that's one less reason to hold dollars. And if enough countries do it, the dollar loses its dominance, which means America loses its economic superpower status. So why does China want this so badly? Simple. Control. Right now, if China pisses off the US, we can sanction them, cut them off from the dollar system, cripple their economy. We did it to Russia, we did it to Iran, we could do it to China. But if China has its own reserve currency, that leverage disappears. They can trade with whoever they want. They can avoid sanctions. They can build their own economic empire independent of the West. Plus, it makes them the global power. Countries will need yuan instead of dollars. They'll come to China for loans and trade deals. China becomes the center of the financial universe. And honestly, from their perspective, it makes perfect sense. Why should they play in a system where America holds all the cards? They're building their own deck. All right, so what happens if China actually pulls this off? For America, it's bad. Our ability to print money without consequences? Gone. Our cheap borrowing costs? Gone. Our ability to sanction rivals? Way weaker. Inflation would hit harder because we can't just export it to the world anymore. Interest rates would spike, government debt would become way more expensive. And for regular people, your dollar wouldn't go as far. Imports get more expensive, travel gets pricier, your savings lose value. Jobs in industries tied to the dollar's dominance, finance, defense contracting, international trade could take a hit. Now, I'm not saying this happens overnight. It could take decades, but the process has already started and it's accelerating. China's patient. They play the long game, and every year they get a little closer. So what's America doing about it? Honestly, not enough. We're still relying on the old playbook, military dominance, sanctions, diplomatic pressure, but we're not addressing the real issue. Countries want an alternative to the dollar. Because when we weaponize the dollar, freezing assets, cutting countries out of the system, we give them a reason to find something else. We sanctioned Russia, and now they're trading in yuan and rubles. We threatened China, and now they're building a parallel financial system. We're accidentally pushing countries into China's arms. And meanwhile, we're drowning in debt, printing money like crazy, losing credibility. If we want to keep the dollar as the reserve currency, we need to get our house in order, manage our debt, rebuild trust, offer something better than just threats. But right now, we're coasting on momentum from 80 years ago, and that won't last forever. Okay, so what can you actually do about this? First, diversify your assets. Don't keep everything in dollars. Consider some gold, maybe some international stocks, even a little crypto. I'm not saying go crazy, but having all your eggs in one basket, especially if that basket might lose value, is risky. Second, pay attention to global news. This stuff doesn't make headlines every day, but it's happening. Follow what BRICS is doing. Watch oil trade agreements. Stay informed. Third, invest in skills, not just dollars. If the dollar weakens, the best hedge is your ability to create value. Learn skills that travel. Build businesses. Don't just rely on cash savings. Fourth, understand what's at stake. This isn't just economics, it's geopolitics. It affects everything. Where jobs are, what wars might happen, how powerful America stays. You should know what's going on, because this isn't conspiracy theory stuff. This is real, and it's accelerating. Look, I'm not saying the dollar's going to collapse tomorrow. It's still the most trusted currency on the planet. The U.S. economy is still massive, our military is still dominant. But dominance doesn't last forever. The British pound was the reserve currency once, then it wasn't. Empires rise and fall, currencies do too. And right now, China's making moves. Whether they succeed or not, the fact that they're trying changes everything. The world is shifting, and pretending it's not won't protect you. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Google BRICS currency news and see what comes up. Read about the latest oil trade agreements. See which countries are moving away from the dollar. Then ask yourself, am I prepared if the dollar loses power? If this opened your eyes, drop a like. Comment what you think. Is China going to pull this off, or is the dollar safe? And share this with someone who needs to understand what's really happening in global finance. Knowledge is power. Let's stay ahead of the curve, together.